Hi, my name's Lindy Cowling and welcome to my channel. My website is www.lindycowling.co.uk and my email is info@lindycowling.co.uk. And the title of this video is The Alternate, as in alternate reality, alternate timelines, alternate expression of consciousness. The alternate. So those of you that are new to this channel, new subscribers, this is an experiential channel, which means the sharing that I do is from direct experience. 90% of that experience directly experienced by me, and the other 10% experienced through me via my work with other people or other clients. So I am, in other words, experiencing it and witnessing it. So what I want to talk about today is alternate realities, alternate timelines, alternate expressions of consciousness. As part of your journey, as part of our journey, many millions will get to the stage, and at the moment that stage has been reached by thousands across the world, not millions, so it's still in its early stages, but the millions will come, as a stage of personal evolution, as a stage of spiritual growth, as a stage of coming away from the old energy, the belief systems, the programming, and elevating up into a non-programmed state of consciousness from third up to fourth, and then into the multidimensional blueprint, or the 12D blueprint, which starts at a minimum base 5-dimensional level. As a result of that, if you are one of the millions that will be entering that, shall we say, new energy, a new state of consciousness, as a result of that journey, you will get the opportunity to enter 0 point. 0 point state of consciousness being a complete state of consciousness where there is no karma on it, no baggage on it, no past on it. It is a squeaky clean, pure state of infinite awareness, infinite consciousness. It is in present time, it is all in the second, the moment, in the now. And if, or as, you get to that point in your evolution, which is all an inner process, which affects, obviously, the inward affects the outward. But if and when you get to that stage of 0 point, which is the, I could almost call it an overlap with a convergence of a number of aspects of multidimensional consciousness at the same time that can converge and rush together to make this little mini Big Bang, really, explosion of creation, an explosion of pure infinite awareness, where you are in the new energy. At that point, there can be a realization that there are multiple aspects of self and there are in fact alternate selves, parallel lives, parallel timelines running adjacent to the timeline that you are conscious of, or your one that your perception is that it's the one that you're living now, when in fact you're living all of them now, but you know what I mean, the one that you're, let's call it your primary awareness. And so these other timelines are running adjacent to your primary, and I'm only calling it primary because it's the one you're aware of engaging in as a human being at this moment. But as you go into this consciousness, you may well be aware of others that are running adjacent to it. So you may have the conscious awareness of other timelines that are running alongside it, parallels. In my perception of this, I do not feel that those other timelines collapse, and I know quite a few people in the alternative arena say that those timelines collapse and then you have another one. That's not my perception of it. My perception of it is that they run in a multidimensional fashion adjacent to the one that you're primarily aware of, and that according to your state of consciousness, you can alter the outcome of not just the timeline you're on, you can actually change timeline to one that is more optimal or more preferential, or an inner decision on your soul level, your spirit level, that actually this is the experience I wish to have and I wish to create. So I don't see the other timelines running identical, other aspects of you, multi-dimensional aspects of you, falling away and dissolving and just becoming one. That is a very linear perception of it. We're talking about quantum reality here, quantum timelines, quantum understanding. And how I see it is like a prism, if you were to hold something up and look through it and see multiple aspects, multiple reflections, multiple parts of the whole, all running at the same time, an infinite amount running at the same time, according to the decisions you make on a spiritual level, a soul level, and to a lesser degree on a physical human level, those decisions altering the primary awareness of the timeline you're on, but also altering the outcome of that timeline, where you're going on it, or once you have that awareness, having the awareness that you can, in a way, change timelines, jump realities, and yet the reality that you jump from, not disappearing, but just carrying on into infinity with its own conclusion. Because it's not you withdrawing your aspect of full consciousness from that timeline. It is a decision, a choice on a soul level, on the level of your spirit, to choose a different outcome. It's like someone handing you a tin of sweets or a tin of chocolates, and then you taking that one and saying, oh, I'll try that one, thank you. And then, oh, I'll try that one, thank you. And then I'll try that one, thank you. And it doesn't annihilate or make the previous chocolate that you ate disappear or non-existent. You've already eaten it. you're just picking from a selection of experiences, of expressions of your consciousness, of realities. And so it's an extraordinary thing because, as you know, this is an experiential channel. So although I had the awareness and the knowing on much of this, over the last few days working with somebody, she knows who she is, give a shout out to her, I saw up close and personal that she had made a choice on a soul level, and I could not only see the choice she'd made, but I could see the choice between two timelines that she made and two realities she made. And it was extraordinary. It was extraordinary. I could see two different complete, not two different complete outcomes, choices, energies, the whole of the shebang there. That was, I just hesitated because there was an unusual noise over there. I don't know if you picked it up on camera when I said that. Sometimes this happens when I'm working and funny noises come in just to validate something. So it was an extraordinary thing because had my consciousness not been where it was, if I was reading as a medium clairvoyant in the old way, I would have only been able to spot one reality, and it would have been the first reality, the original timeline. But because she was at a state of consciousness where she could, in effect, choose which timeline, choose which conscious co-creative experience she was going to have, because my consciousness is where it is, I could see this. I could see the non-linear perspective and see the multidimensional perspective. So it was an extraordinary thing for me as well. And it's an amazing thing here because then this opens up the whole ballpark here, not only to alternate timelines and alternate outcomes, and which one of those outcomes you wish to experience. And to get to that level of choice is a state of consciousness. It's a state of heart consciousness. It's an entry point to what I call a new energy. But it also opens up the prospect of and the possibility of interacting. Not only are you coexisting, but the interaction, the merging, and in some ways the awareness and introduction to one's alternate selves. Alternate selves being, as a simple explanation, Lindy here now, being aware of, interacting with, or even meeting with Lindy in one of the, or multiple of the other aspects of conscious experience in other timelines, other dimensions, other realities. And in a way, the ability to work together with all aspects of alternate self as one unified multidimensional being to change not only one's primary awareness of one's timeline, but all awareness, all aspects of timelines, all dimensions as one whole, so that all aspects of them as a unified conscious experience have perhaps, we could say, a different outcome, a higher outcome, an elevated outcome, or an outcome in all of them that contributes to an overall amplified, expanded outcome in the primary awareness. I hope I'm not making this too complicated, because as it's coming from me, I'm trying to make it as simple as possible whilst completely understanding it and having the awareness of it as well. So it's amazing, really. It's quite magical and it's quite mind-blowing, because to have concepts of something is one thing, to have knowing of something is another, and to see something firsthand as a valid experience is another still. It's extraordinary, and basically it's validation in a way that this state of consciousness that is happening on this planet is real and it is expanding. And so over the next, over the next several years, there is going to be tipping into millions of people with that state of empowerment and that state of awareness, which is extraordinary. The lady that I was working with in particular a few days ago, where this has happened to her, she's a very, very conscious being and has been on a path of great expansion and awareness for a number of years. And it's an extraordinary thing there, because she's now at the entry point of this multidimensional ballpark, really. And as I say, at the moment across the planet there are thousands that are at that point, not millions, but that is rapidly going to become millions, because it's all there. And the rate at which this happens is dependent on the rate of one's own personal, unique journey, really. And as I've said before, some will not step into that entry point in this, let's say, this lifetime or timeline. That's personal choice again. That's personal decision. Some won't take that choice and decision, but many millions will. And of course, the more that do come into their sovereignty, their complete, unified, multi-dimensional state, with all aspects unified, merged, what an extraordinarily different experience this human life is going to be for most of the planet, because the frequency that a unified sovereign being puts out is hugely amplified to one that is in that state of programming and emotional despair and suffering and separation and entrenched and caught up, which we've all been there, and none of us are 100% clear of that yet. Or I say none of us, hardly anyone. I personally, as a soul, I chose the long way round. I wish fervently that I hadn't chose the long way round. But if I hadn't chose the long way round, I guess I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. And clearly I needed those aspects of the human experience, and I wouldn't be able to share the way I'm sharing if I hadn't crawled through the trenches with the majority of people. Crawled through the mud, crawled through the trenches, done it the very long, slow way. And when I say the long, slow way, part of my experience has been this way, so that it could be very human and I could anchor it. That's why it's slow, because I am sharing as it is evolving within me and in people around me and clients, for example. And then I share when I have full understanding, full awareness. I've kind of assimilating the consciousness myself before I put it out there. And so it's a very long and slow process. It would be much faster for me, because I am a natural channel as well, I've been channeling for 17 years nearly. It would have been much faster for me to link in and channel, that obviously wasn't my path, but to link in and channel a consciousness that then I channel it through me, and I don't have the understanding of it, but I channel it through me and then I get the understanding later. And it could easily have gone that way round, but obviously that wasn't the plan, and I had to, obviously made a choice. I had to learn it the long way round. I had to learn it as a human, learning it before I put it out. But there are other people that are able to do it in a different way, and that have been around for a very long time, a number of years, that channel consciousness like that. Others are wired a completely different way again, so they come in and they will never have to go through the long way round, crawling through it and getting through different stages of consciousness. They've already come in wired right up in that multidimensional blueprint. They're not working their way to it and getting into it. They're already in it. They're of it. And that's very obvious as well who those people are. And they're few and far between, but they are there, and you can see them there. And that's only the ones you can see in the public eye. You know, there are many others that are under the radar, I'm absolutely sure. So it's an extraordinary thing. So we're talking here about lives that are running parallel, experiences of consciousness, your consciousness that are running parallel, alternate, and that those alternate realities run on into infinity with their own conclusion. It is not resonating with me that those alternate realities collapse and there is only one conclusion, the primary timeline you're on. The whole aspects of multidimensionality is multidimensionality, multiple outcomes, multiple aspects, multiple expressions of consciousness, all making the unified sovereign one. And as you have the consciousness that you can not only alter the timeline you're on, but alter whether you even remain as the consciousness on that timeline, literally change timelines, jump timelines, roll over into another timeline. It's an extraordinary thing, and if we take it one step further again, it may be your reality that you can do this much more often than once, that you can do this many times, multiple times. It may be your reality that you can interact in dream state, or, you know, etherically or actually physically with other aspects of yourself, alternate selves, as a result of your experience, if that is where your consciousness takes you and if that's where your consciousness wants to go. It's a whole different world. It's a whole quantum world, and it's an extraordinary thing. The wonderful thing for me doing this work is I know you never stop learning. I mean, you meaning me, you know, I'm including me in that, you know, we never stop learning. We never really stop expanding once you're on this trajectory. And it's never that you think you know all the answers to anything, because you just don't. I mean, and then every couple of weeks when I'm working, something will happen and it's either validation, or if it's just stretch that parameter again of what is possible and what is not possible. It's extraordinary. So I hope you found that interesting. I hope you enjoyed that. It's quite magical, I would use the word magical really, as well as quite an exciting prospect to realise that this is even a possibility, let alone a probability, and that this will be happening eventually across the general population. It really is mind-blowing, and it's supposed to be. It's not the mind running the show, it's the soul and the spirit running the show, and that's what we're stepping into. On that note, I will love you and leave you. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for subscribing to this channel. I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves in these extraordinary times, and I will love you and leave you. Thank you. Bye.